Narcissists don't handle so-called negative emotions from other people very favorably. Narcissists put a lot of energy and effort into trying to maintain their grandiose identities and even a positive self-image as well as just an overall positive experience. And so, you know, when you go to share your experiences with them, they will often devalue you and invalidate you because they can experience even minor narcissistic injury just from experiencing the emotions of other people. And so they find that burdensome and potentially triggering, that emotions that remind them of their own vulnerability, their own weakness, or just run in parallel to some of the dimensions of narcissistic injury, like what's really inside, is something that they will try to repel. And so often they will react pretty harshly in any instance where you're trying to just share your day or you had some kind of setback or something that you need to get off your chest. They don't do well with that. And so I think that, a lot of these are not always necessarily intentional devaluations, but they're reactionary, that they're essentially protecting themselves. And, that is often why they will be so averse to what they call negativity, that they can't handle it. They put a lot of energy in trying to maintain their positive self-image and overall positive experience, that they just cannot handle anything along the lines of real vulnerability. So, that's just something to know. Like if you're just starting to gray rock people that you've had relationships with, like you might have people that are unavoidable, or you're going to be around family, you're going to be around them. Sometimes what happens is that, people will discover that they had a narcissist for a boyfriend or girlfriend or significant other, but they're going to have other narcissists in their lives. And it's important to remember that, because sometimes what'll happen is that when you go back to, say, like a family event or something, a lot of the relationships you have will have a certain culture to them. Like you just have a certain automatic way of catching up with people and talking. You just want to keep in mind that you can be around those people. You can be cordial, you can be kind, you can be nice, and you can still gray rock. What that would look like is just being avoidant of sharing anything that has those types of emotional sentiments. You don't need to talk too much about your job, about things that you're challenged by, about what you have going on. And, that will help, avoid some of those triggers, that if you can't avoid being around certain friends and family or coworkers that you suspect might be a narcissistic individual, it's important to just remember that, be cognizant of it. That if you do go around them and you find yourself getting triggered, just take a look at your own communication and restore yourself back to a gray rock status. So gray rock doesn't mean that you're ignoring people or necessarily avoiding them. It just means that you're controlling your demeanor and you're avoiding overly emotional engagement. And you especially don't ever need to expect like feedback or sympathy or any form of empathy from any of these individuals, because as you know, they're not really well equipped for it. So, for those of you that may have these types of people that you can't avoid, you can certainly make a really big difference for yourself simply by gray rocking and keeping in mind that there's certain types of conversations that are really off limits if you're trying to avoid, any kind of unnecessary, devaluation or invalidation.